Today, I will be showing you how I've created this ultimate personal assistant that will literally automate all of your daily tasks. This personal assistant will have access to an email agent, which will look like this. The email agent will have access to sending emails, replying to emails, creating drafts, deleting emails, get emails, create labels, get labels, and mark as unread. Then the personal assistant will have access to a calendar agent, which will look like this. The calendar agent will have access to creating events, updating events, getting all events, deleting events, and creating events with an attendee. Then the Ultimate Assistant will be able to create LinkedIn posts. So the LinkedIn post creator will look like this. Then the Ultimate Assistant will have access to a contact agent, which will look like this. So with this contact agent, we will be able to get contacts, delete contacts, and create or update contacts. And last but not least, this Ultimate AI agent will be able to get the latest news about a specific topic. We will use the Tavily tool for this, and this will search the whole web about the topic, and then it will give you the latest news about the topic that you have inserted. I will first do a quick demo to showcase you some of the tools and how they work, and afterwards I will show you a step-by-step guide on how you can create this Ultimate Assistant yourself. Can you set up a meeting for tonight at 7 p.m. and can you then send an email to Joe to confirm if this time will work? Okay, so now we will run the workflow, and then we can see that it will first get the contact, and then it will get the calendar agent. Afterwards it will get sent to the email agent, and then the email will get sent to Joe. So here it will go over the email agent, and then we get the message in Telegram. And then if you look at Telegram, we can see the meeting has been successfully scheduled for tonight at 7 p.m. And then additionally, I have sent an email to Joe at swinformation0@gmail.com, which is the email that is linked to the name Joe, to confirm if tonight at 7 p.m. works for him. Now we are in the Gmail and we can see that the email has been sent. So the subject is confirmation for tonight's meeting. And then, hi Joe, I hope this meeting finds you well. I just wanted to confirm if tonight at 7 p.m. works for you. Looking forward to your reply. And then it's signed off as best regards, Sil. And then if we also take a look in our Google Calendar, we can see that the meeting at 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. has been created with the title meeting. So that's exactly what we wanted. So now it has created an event and sent a confirmation to Joe if this time also works for him. Now let's for example say that the meeting didn't go through, so it got cancelled. So then we can say, sorry, can you delete the event meeting? So then we can run the workflow. And then we can see that it will first go to the calendar agent, and then it will delete the event. And afterwards we will get sent a message back to our Telegram. And then it will say, the meeting scheduled for tonight at 7 p.m. has been successfully deleted. And if we then take a look in our Google Calendar, then we can also see that the event with the title meeting from 7 to 8 p.m. has been deleted. Can you create a LinkedIn post for me? Okay, so now we'll run the workflow, and then it will trigger the create LinkedIn post. And then a LinkedIn post for us will be created. The workflow was successful and we have received the LinkedIn post. So here in Telegram we have the LinkedIn post and it starts with the hook. Afterwards we have the body and then it ends with a call to action. If I wanted to get my schedule for today, then I could just say, can you give me my schedule for today? Then I will run the workflow and then it will first trigger the calendar agent. And in the calendar agent it will get all of the events that we have for today scheduled. And then we will get a message on our Telegram with the whole list. So in Telegram, we got the message that we have 3 events. We have gym, the meeting, and our other meeting. And if we then take a look in our Google Calendar, then we can see that these are the exact same events that we got in our Telegram. The last demo that we will do is getting the latest news about crypto. So I will say, can you give me the latest news about crypto? Then we will run the workflow and then we can see that it will trigger the Tavily tool in here. So it will trigger the Tavily tool and then we get the message in our Telegram. And then in our Telegram, we can see that we have received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 articles about crypto. And this is the latest news that we have asked for. So now that you know what kind of result you can expect from this Ultimate PA Assistant, I will now show you how you can build it. And we will first start with the speech to text part. So for the speech to text part, we will first start with the Telegram on-trigger message. In this Telegram on-trigger message, you will first have to connect your credential. And afterwards, you will put the trigger on message. And this will make sure that you can receive text messages and you can also receive voice messages. And this is very important if you want a speech to text bot. After the Telegram trigger, we will add a switch node. And the switch node will decide if it is a voice memo or if it is a text message. So you could also send text messages with this PA assistant, but you could also just use the voice function. In the switch node, the first thing that you will do is add 2 routing rules. The first route will be the voice route, and then the second route will be the text route. And for the voice route, the first thing that you will need is the voice file ID. And this can be found in the Telegram trigger on the left side. So here we have it in schema mode, and then you will need the voice file ID. So here you will drag it in here, and then you'll put it on a string, so on a text, and then you'll do it on exist, because if this exists, then it has to go to this route. And then you will rename the output, and this is not necessary, but this is just to keep it clean as possible. And you will do the output name as audio, so we know that it's an audio route. And for the next route, we will do the text route. And for the text route, you will need this expression. You can copy it from what I have. And then you will put it also on exists. So if this exists, then it will go with this route. Afterwards, you will rename the output and the output name will be text. So now we have two paths. This is the audio path and then we have the text path. And I will first go over the audio path. So what you will have to do is a Telegram get file. And here we will get the audio message. So in this Telegram get file, you will first have to add your credentials. And afterwards, you will put the resource on file. Then you will put the operation on get. And then the file ID will be the voice file ID that we also just got. So I will go to your Telegram trigger. And I will get the voice file ID. And then I will drag it in here. And one very important thing that you have to do is that you have to turn on download, because we have to download the voice file that we have sent to Telegram. After the Telegram gets file node, you will add an OpenAI transcribe recording node. And in this transcribe recording, we will transcribe the audio file to text. And we will first have to add a credential for this. So you will add your OpenAI credential. And if you don't have your credentials yet for your Telegram and for your OpenAI, then you can just press on this, press on create new credential, and then do open docs. And then here n8n has a full explanation on how you can create your credential yourself. So after you have selected your credential, you will put the resource on audio, and then the operation will be transcribe a recording, because we want to transcribe a recording. And then the input data field name will be the exact name as we see above here. So for me it is data, and that's why I have the input data field name as data. So if you did that correctly, then the audio path is set up. And now we'll move on to the text path. And for the text path, the only thing that you have to do is adding a set node. And in the set node, you will do fields to set as text. Then this will be a string. And then the expression will be JSON.messageText. And what this basically does is transcribing the output that we eventually send to this personal assistant to JSON.text. Because the output from the transcribe recording is also JSON.text. So then it doesn't really matter which one you put in. And then if the output is from this set node or from this transcribe recording, then in the end, it will all be processed by this personal assistant. So now we'll move on to the ultimate PA assistant. And this ultimate PA assistant is an AI agent. You will first have to add your user message. And this user message is going to be JSON.text. And this can be pulled from the transcribe audio. So you can just drag it from here in this input field. So now we'll move on to the system message. And the system message is going to be, you are an intelligent multi-agent assistant. Your job is to understand user requests and route them to the correct sub-agent or tool. You have access to the following tools and should invoke them based on the task described. Then here we have all of the tools that are accessible to this personal assistant. And then here we have some actions require you to look up contact information first. For the following actions, you must get contact information and send that to the agent who needs it. And these are the tools that are needing this. So this is the send email and the draft email. Afterwards, you give an example of how it should output when it is needed to get the contact first. And then last but not least, we gave it some goals, such as correctly understand the intent of the user and be concise and informative, avoiding unnecessary or fake responses. And then at the end, we gave it the now, and this makes sure that our agent knows which time/date it is. Then we also need a chat model for this PA assistant. The chat model that I chose is OpenAI GPT-4o Mini, but you could also choose the other model. Then we also gave it some memory, and we just chose the window buffer memory. And for this, you have to enter the key, and this is going to be the JSON.chat message ID. And you can find this by going to the schema, then going to mapping, then all the way back down by our Telegram trigger, you will get the chat ID. So the chat ID will be standing here with chat and then the ID, and you will just drag it in here. And then the context window length, we have just put it on 5, but this is just how many messages your agent will have to remember. So if you would, for example, put it on 10, then your AI agent can remember 10 messages. Now we will call all of the sub-workflows. These sub-workflows are the email agent, the calendar agent, the LinkedIn post agent, and then the contact agent. So I will press on this plus here, and then you will type in call. Then I will choose this one, so the call n8n workflow tool. And this is basically calling a other n8n automation or agent that you've already created. So for the email agent, the first thing that you will do is putting the name on email agent, which is just the name of your tool. Then the description will be a small description of what this tool will do. So for me, it is call this tool for email actions. Then the sources will be database, and then the workflow will be the workflow that you want to call. So this will be the email agent. And for the workflow inputs, you have the input data. And you can just press on this button here, and this will be the From AI. And what From AI does is basically using the brain power of the LLM to figure out what kind of data has to be put into this input field. So you can just leave it on From AI, and then your LLM will figure it out what has to be put in here. For the calendar agent, it will be exactly the same. So what you will do is put the name on calendar agent or the name that you have given to your tool, a small description of what this tool will do. They will call the workflow, so the calendar agent, and they will put it on from AI for your input data. Then for the create LinkedIn post, it will also be the same. And then for your contact agent, it will also be the same. By the way, this workflow will also be free to download in our Skool community, so that you can just grab the resource from this workflow and just put it in, and then it is all ready to go. And if you like this video so far, then do not forget to like and subscribe. Okay, so now we'll first configure the email agent, so let's move to that sub-workflow. And as I already showed in the beginning, this is how the workflow for the email agent looks. So you have access to all of these tools. The first thing that we will do to trigger this workflow is adding this trigger here. And this will be when executed by another workflow. And this will basically say you can only trigger this workflow if it is being executed by another workflow. And that will be our ultimate personal assistant. So in this trigger, you will have to do input data mode on define using below. Then the name will be input data and then the type will be string. Then we'll move on to the email agent of the email sub workflow. So in the email agent, you will have to enter your user message, and this will be the input from your trigger. So I will do this expression. Then the system message will be, you are an email management assistant. All emails must be formatted professionally in HTML and signed off as sale, or signed off as your name. Then the email management tools are, and then we give all of the tools that it has access to. And then we'll say, here is the current date/time, which will be now. So then the agent knows which day/time it is. Then we have to add our chat model. So for this chat model, I chose OpenAI GPT-4o Mini, but you could also choose the other model if you would like. And then the first tool that we will look into is the send email tool. You will first have to add your Google credential, and we have also created a whole video on how you can add all of your Google credentials, so I will link that down below. Then you will add the tool description on set automatically, resource on message, and operation on send, because we want to send messages, of course. And then the tool will be from AI, subject will be from AI, and the email type will be HTML. And then the message will also be from AI. So you can just press on this button here. So you can press on this, this, and this. Then you can add a description if you would like, but it is not even necessary. And then the brain of the LLM will figure out what it has to put in all of these input fields. Then for the tool email reply, we will have to add our credential, put the reasons on message, operation on reply, because we want to reply on emails, message ID on from AI, email type on HTML, and then the message also on from AI. Then the create draft is basically the same process as with the send email and the email reply. So we'll just go over it quickly. So in the create draft, we will add the credential, put the reason on draft instead of create, and then you will put the operation on create. Then the subject will be from AI, and from AI, and then email type will be HTML. For the delete tool, you will add your credential first, then you will put the resource on message, and then you want to put the operation on delete because you want to delete emails, and then the message ID will be on from AI. Then for the get emails, it will be this. So here you will have to add your credential and then put everything on from AI. Then for the create label, you will have to do the same. Then for the get labels, it is a bit different. So on the get labels, you have to add your credential, put the resource on label and the operation on get many. Then you have to turn off return all and put the limit on 50. But what you could also do is just turn on return all, and then you can return all of the get labels. But in my experience, I do not really like this, so I've just put it on 50. And then last but not least is the tool Marcus and Red. So for this tool, you have to add your credential and put the message ID on from AI. And then we went over all of the email tools. So now we'll move on to the calendar tools. So for the calendar tool, I have also showed you in the beginning of how it looks. So this is the agent, and then here we have all of the tools. And this agent is also being triggered by when executed by another workflow. So in this trigger, you will first have to put the define using fields below, and then you will put the name on input data and the type on string, and then your trigger is set up. So now we'll move on to the AI agent of this calendar sub workflow. First we have to add the user message, and this will be the exact same user message as with the email agent. And then we move on to the system message. So this will be the system message of this calendar sub workflow. Then we have to add the chat model, and the chat model will be OpenAI GPT-4o Mini. And then we'll first move on to creating an event with the attendee. And for this tool, you have to first add your credential, your Google credential, put the tool description on set automatically, resource on event, operation on create. Then the calendar will be the calendar where you want to create events on. Then the start date will be from AI, end will be from AI. They will do use default reminders on. And then the attendees will be from AI. So here we will add people to our create event. And then the summary will be the title of your event. So this is very important that you also select this as an option, because otherwise it will give you an error message with there is no title. So that's why you have to add this summary. Next tool will be deleting events. So for this tool, you have to add your credentials. You will have to select your calendar, put the operation on delete because you want to delete events. Then the event ID will be from AI. Next will be the get all events tool. And for this tool, you have to add your credential, put the resource on event, and then the operation on get many. Then you have to select your calendar, and then you can turn on return all. This is not necessary if you want, but this is just that you can return all of the events in your calendar. Then after will be from AI, and then before will be this expression. So you have to copy this expression that I have created in here. The next tool will be updating event. So for this tool, you have to first add your credential, put the resource on event, operation on update because you want to update an event, select your calendar, and then you have to select from AI for all these indicators. So for the event ID, the end, start, and summary. And then the last tool will be creating the event. And for this tool, you have to add your credential, put the event on create, and then add your calendar. And then the start, end, and summary will all be on from AI. And then you have to turn on use default reminders. Next will be creating a LinkedIn post. So let's go to that sub workflow. After the trigger, you will get an RSS feed where we will scrape all of the articles. Then here we will look in our Google Sheet and check if we have already scraped this article before. If we haven't, then it will move on. Otherwise, it will drop it here in this merge node. Then we will filter the articles and we will check if it is talking about our niche, because we only want to create LinkedIn posts that are talking about our niche. Then if it is talking about our niche, then it will go through with the workflow, and otherwise it will just cut it out. Then we will pick one article because we only want to create one LinkedIn post. Afterwards, we will send it to an OpenAI message model where we're going to create the LinkedIn ID, and then we will put it into our Google Sheets where the LinkedIn ID and the description will be entered. After you've inserted the data in your Google Sheets, we will have this Stability tool, and the Stability tool is basically going to research the ID and the description that you have just created in here. So the Stability tool, you will first have to add your credential, put the resource on search, operation on query, and then the query will be this. So this will be the JSON ID that you have created in here. Afterwards, you will send the data to an OpenAI message model where you're going to split out the data from Tavily. And here you're in an AI agent, you will create the LinkedIn post, and then at the end, you will put it into a Google Sheets. And now I just went through this workflow very quickly, but I've also created a whole video on this, on how you can create this whole automation for LinkedIn. So I will leave a link down below for that video. The next sub workflow will be the contact agent. So let's go to that sub workflow. As I already showed you in the beginning, this is the workflow for the contact agent, and it starts with this trigger when executed by another workflow. And we have to put the name on query and the type on string. Then afterwards, we have the AI agent of the sub workflow for the contact agent. And this AI agent first have to add the user message, and this user message will be this. So this will be the json.query. Afterwards, we will have the system message, and the system message of this AI agent is: you are a content management assistant responsible for retrieving, adding, and updating content information efficiently. Then we gave it a task: manage contact records by looking up existing contacts, adding new entries, or updating details as needed. Then we gave it the instructions and the rules. Now we have to give this AI agent a chat model. And this chat model is going to be OpenAI GPT-4o Mini, but you can also choose your other chat model. And then we have three tools, and these tools are the get context, the delete context, and create or update context. And the first tool that we go over is the get context. And in the get context, you will first have to add your Airtable credential. Then you have to put the tool description on set automatically, resource on record, and the operation on search because you want to search the record. Afterwards, you will put the base to your base that you want to search the records from, and then the table from your record. The filter by formula will be from AI, and then you will turn on return all because you want to return all of the records. Afterwards, you will enter some options, and these options are sort, and you want to sort on name and email. So you have to enter the name and the email. Then we will move on to deleting contacts. And for the delete contacts, you will have to add your Airtable credential. Then you put the resource on record and the operation on delete. And then the base will be your base, and the table will be the table from your base. And then the record ID will be from AI. And then the last tool will be the create or update contact. And in this tool, you will first have to add your Airtable credential. Afterwards, you will put the resource on record and the operation on create or update. The base will be your base, and the table will be the table of your base. They will map column mode will be on map each column manually. And then will columns to match on will be email because you want to match on the email column. And then the values to update are the from AI email and the from AI name. And then here we have a set node, and this set node basically secures that we send the right data from this AI agent to our ultimate PA assistant. So in the set node, you will enter success. then you put it on a string, and then the JSON.output will be the output from this AI agent. Now we will move on to the get latest news tool. And in this tool, we're going to get the latest news of a topic that we have inserted. For this get the latest news tool, you will first have to add your credential. And if you do not know how to create your Tably credential, we have created a full video of how you can do that. So I will link the video down below. And the tool description will be on set automatically. The resource will be on search. And then the operation will be on query. And the query will be from AI. So you can just enter the from AI here. And then the option is very important because we want to research the news. And that is why we have to put the topic on news. So you can also put it on general or finance, but I've just put it on news because I want to get the latest news. Then your Tably tool is set up. There we have the calculator for just easy calculations if you want, and it is very easy to add. So what you will do is just press here on the plus, enter calc, and then here you have the calculator. You can just press on it, then you can connect it to your OpenAI agent, and then your calculator is set up. Now the last thing that we have to do is sending the output from our OpenAI agent and from all of the tools back to Telegram, and that's what we have to do by creating a Telegram send message node. And in this Telegram send message node, you will have to first add your credential. Then you have to put the resource on message and the operational send message because you want to send the message back. Then the chat ID will be the chat ID that you can find in your Telegram trigger. So here in your Telegram trigger, you will find your chat ID in here. And you can, if you want, hard code it, or you can just drag this ID in this input field. Then you have the text, and the text will be the output from your Ultimate PA Assistant. So you'll drag the output in this input field, and then it is also set up. Then the reply markup will be on none. And then we have turned off append n8n attribution because otherwise you will every time see this message was generated with n8n, and then it's just not nice. So this was the video on how you can create this ultimate personal assistant that will automate all of your daily tasks. If you have a question, then leave a comment down below and I'll see you in the next video.